Who are the 10 worst mid-season F1 driver swaps of the 21st century? Let's take a look. In the high-pressure world of Formula One, any change of driver is a fine line of risk and reward. A change of driver can make or break a season or even a career. While some become a failed roll of the dice, others can provide the springboard to a driver's F1 career. Liam Lawson has reaped the rewards of a successful stint at AlphaTauri, which has seen his stock rise in a fickle driver market. Whilst Lawson's time substituting for Daniel Ricciardo at AlphaTauri has been beneficial for the rookie, how do you think he compares to his 21st century predecessors? We have come up with the 10 worst examples of driver transfers partway through an F1 season. For this top 10, we have looked through all mid-season driver changes, including one-off substitute appearances which have happened for a variety of reasons, including injury, sponsorships, and driver unavailability. Along with performances versus the established teammate, we have also considered disaster races, where races have gone wrong regardless of speed or talent. Alright, let's get started. In at number 10, Zonta for Ralf Schumacher, Toyota 05. With Ricardo Zonta's last full F1 race being in 2000, the Brazilian had taken part in various substitute driver races since then. He drove 2 Grand Prix for Jordan in 01, 4 for Toyota in 04, and now he was called up to stand in for Ralf Schumacher, who was injured during practice for the 05 US GP. Zonta had driven a lot of testing miles for the Japanese team, so was best placed to jump in and hopefully still put in a performance worth showing. However, he qualified over 1 full second from qualifying expert teammate Jarno Trulli, who claimed the team's only pole position of the season. Hoping to recover in the race, Zonta's opportunity never came due to all but 3 teams, including Toyota, pulling out from the race due to Michelin's tyre safety concerns. The farcical race turned into Zonta's last GP entry. What a way to end a career. Next, at number 9, Magnussen for Alonso, McLaren 15. Having taken part in his first F1 season with McLaren in 14, Kevin Magnussen was perhaps unlucky to not have a drive in 2015. The Woking team couldn't resist the temptation to bring in Fernando Alonso alongside Jenson Button and duly demoted Magnussen to test and reserve driver to accommodate. However, a crash in pre-season testing sidelined Alonso for the first race, so Magnussen was put back in the race seat. Whilst we can't call this a bad performance for Magnussen, it enters this top 10 due to how disastrously wrong it went. With the Dane likely already frustrated at his situation, it was to become even more irksome for the lack of pace for the new McLaren-Honda partnership. After qualifying behind his teammate in an all-McLaren back row of the grid, Magnussen didn't even make the start of the race due to engine troubles. Sounds like the car didn't like K-Mag's attitude either. Following at number 8, Button for Alonso, McLaren 17. A world champion driver returning for a one-off race should provide excitement and romanticised ideas of a triumphant return. Whilst Button showed that he still had the pace to be competitive, the circumstances just weren't right for him to be able to succeed. In one of McLaren's most difficult seasons in their history, Fernando Alonso missed the 2017 Monaco GP to tackle the Indy 500. That's alright for some. The team called on the recently retired Button to return alongside Stoffel Van Dorn. He gave a good account in qualifying with a Q3 appearance and finishing ahead of Van Dorn, but looked set for an afternoon of frustration after starting from the pit lane with a variety of Honda engine component changes. In the race, an opportunistic move down Poitiers went badly wrong when he pitched Sauber's Pascal Wehrlein into a half roll into the barrier. It was a disappointing result which the 2009 world champion did not deserve. Definitely not a race to remember for Button. Alright, at number 7, Resta for Massa, Williams 17. Experienced racer Paul Resta had last raced in F1 in 2013 and found himself out of the sport after being dropped by Force India. Returning to the German DTM series, Resta was eventually offered a reserve driver role at the Williams team in 16 and was called upon for the 17 Hungarian GP. Whilst it was widely regarded as not a bad performance due to the lack of preparation time, but this stand-in appearance makes the top 10 just because of how doomed to fail it was. With Felipe Massa sidelined through the illness at FP3, the team called on Resta to drive the remainder of the weekend. At a circuit that did not favour the Williams car, with minimal F1 car experience since 13, naturally he was several tenths behind his rookie teammate in qualifying and was running at the back when he retired. The Scot had been a solid F1 driver in his career, but he was never destined to come out well on that weekend. And number 6, and not for the first time, Romain Grosjean for Piquet Jr., Renault 09. Whilst this driver swap isn't necessary for the performances of Romain Grosjean, this has been included due to the cataclysmic events that unfolded not long afterwards. Nelson Piquet had been struggling alongside Fernando Alonso in 08 and 09, and he was dropped halfway through the 09 season. Grosjean came in and also failed to pick up any points, but Piquet's dismissal triggered the unravelling of the infamous Crashgate saga. Not long after Piquet's dismissal, reports emerged about Piquet's deliberate crash that helped Alonso win the Singapore Grand Prix. An investigation found Renault guilty, and managing director Flavio Briatore left the team, along with executive director of engineering Pat Simmons. Major sponsors, their reputation taking a battering, and the after effects of the scandal are still felt to this day. The fact that Grosjean wasn't able to fare much better than Piquet probably rubbed salt into Renault's wounds, and the Frenchman wouldn't race again in F1 until 2012. In saying that, plenty more action and controversy would follow for Grosjean in years to come. Alright, you ready for this? Into our top 5 now. Pizzonia for Heidfeld, Williams 05. Antonio Pizzonia is one of those F1 drivers where the results didn't match the potential. He had a difficult first season at Jaguar in 2003 alongside Mark Webber, and left the team for a Williams test driver role in 2004. To be fair, he did a reasonable job when he made a substitute appearances in 04 and found himself in the running for the Williams test seat in 05. He lost the testing shootout to Nick Heidfeld, but got his chance later in the season when Quick Nick picked up injuries during testing. Pizzonia had been acrimoniously dropped from Jaguar for failing to match Webber's results, so when he lined up alongside him at Williams as the final 5 race of the season, it would have been a good opportunity to prove some doubters wrong. It started well with a points finish at Monza, but a series of poor performances, collisions and off-track moments finished off his F1 career. Pizzonia was never far from controversy. Coming in at number 4, Villeneuve for Trulli, Renault 04. Having been dismissed by the BAR team at the end of 03, 97 world champion Jacques Villeneuve was without a competitive option for the 04 season. He was forced to wait for an opportunity at the BMW Sauber team in 05, but however, with the Renault team pulling the trigger and dropping Jarno Trulli for poor performances, they brought in Villeneuve for the final 3 races of 04. Now this is a big ask, and given the tough challenge of racing alongside Fernando Alonso, Villeneuve did manage to beat Alonso in 1 qualifying session, but the Canadian couldn't adapt to the R24 quick enough to deliver the improved race performances that the Renault team needed. He failed to score in 3 races, and Renault missed out on P2 in the Constructors' Championship by 14 points. Fittingly, Villeneuve's last words in the sport were, "Screw this, it's time to get on with the rest of my life." Famous last words. Now for our top 3. DAmbrosio for Grosjean, Lotus 12. With Grosjean famously receiving his 1 race ban for his part in the multi-car pile-up on the opening lap of the Belgian Grand Prix, the Lotus team turned to test and reserve driver Jerome d'Ambrosio to fill in for the Italian Grand Prix. The Belgian had endured a difficult season at Marussia in 2011 and was comfortably beaten by Timo Glock at the backmarker team, but now he had a chance to shine in a competitive car. While stepping into a car with not much preparation time isn't easy, the Monza circuit appears to be a venue where substitute drivers have had success. Now, we're not saying that Monza is an easy track, but there are a few examples of stand-in drivers delivering strong performances. However, d'Ambrosio wasn't one of them. He was several tenths off a second off the pace of Raikkonen in qualifying and did not recover in the race, only finishing ahead of the established backmarker teams of Caterham, if you remember them, Marussia, you definitely might remember them, and Hispania, you might remember them. Not a great look. All right, almost to number 1. In at number 2, Kovalainen for Raikkonen, Lotus Renault 13. The Enstone team enjoyed a strong couple of seasons across 2012-13. Kimi Raikkonen managed a couple of victories, and Romain Grosjean was proven to be a quick addition to the grid, despite his accident-prone reputation. With Raikkonen recovering from back surgery, Heikki Kovalainen was called up to fill the seat. The Finn had raced up to the end of 2012 after a 3-year stint with Caterham. However, he took part in several practice outings for the team in 2013, which made him an ideal race-ready candidate for a team in need of a substitute driver. However, his final chance in competitive F1 machinery didn't go to plan. Whilst their regular number 2 driver Grosjean was challenging for podiums, Kovalainen appeared to lack the race pace necessary to earn any points. It proved to be his final role with an F1 team, and what a way to go. Alright, and at number 1, The worst mid-season driver swap goes to, drumroll please, Badoer for Massa, Ferrari 09. Perhaps one of the most iconic substitute appearances for all the wrong reasons. Veteran racer Luca Badoer endured a frustrating time when he stood in for Felipe Massa when the Brazilian was injured at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Having last raced F1 in 1999, Badoer had been performing test driver duties for Ferrari since 2000. However, Ferrari's choice of driver seemed like an obscure one, but the team weren't helped by a testing ban at the time, which prompted them to turn to the 38-year-old. To his credit, he made no disastrous errors in what was a difficult Ferrari car, but he was not able to get close to the race pace of teammate Kimi Raikkonen. He finished last in qualifying sessions and the races and was dropped after 2 races for Giancarlo Fisichella. To be fair, you can't go wrong with a bit of fizzy. And that was the top 10 worst driver changes of the 21st century. Which one do you think was worst? Can you see more driver transfers coming in 2024? Do you remember other driver changes that have been a total disaster? Let us know in the comments, and as always, remember to like, comment, share and subscribe. Keep the pedal to the metal, and I'll catch you in the next video.